We are the show that tells the inspiring stories of those that are inspiring others. So let's do this. In just a moment, I will be joined by my guest. You know, sometimes things happen. It is live streaming media, and we have time zones that we deal with. And so there was a little bit of a confusion when it comes to the time zones. Yet our guest will be here any moment. It was really interesting doing the research on this. I actually have known this amazing service hero, Donna Guinouard, and I actually know how to say her name because I know her. I've known her for a while now. Actually, I just did some research to find that she was service hero number 17. Yes, number 17. I started this show, because I was at an event where I actually met her. I met her and a series of other people that have become very significant in the work that I do for the nonprofit that I am the co-founder and president of. I want to recognize those that are here with us. We have a few showing up right now. We have the Skip Thomas. I want to see Leo the Lion. You know, I want us to say that, because I'm thinking of my mom. My mom's birthday is going to be in a few days. And so I saw that, and all of a sudden it just came to me. So Skip Thomas, I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for the love and the hearts. And Helene Wilson, I wrote about you today. I'm so glad you're here. I am indeed. And for those that do not know, Helene Wilson is actually one of our ambassadors for Chemo Buddies for Life. Actually our first ambassador of the chat is what we call her. And she is one of my buddies. We have one of our senior ambassadors, Sherry McQueen. Hello, Sherry. And you will notice that they will be saying hello to others that come in. Jonik, hello. I'm happy that you're here with us. Any moment, we should have our guest, our service hero, the one that I'm going to be honoring at any moment, Donna Guinouard. And in fact, let me see if it actually loaded. It did. I am going to bring up to the line some of a blast from the past. Yes, I actually did go capture Service Hero Show number 17. And if nothing else, I thought, wouldn't it be kind of fun to just kind of get a glimpse of the two of us? We were live somewhere, and Carol, good afternoon, one of our senior ambassadors, again, from Chemo Buddies for Life, and one of our senior production. You know, I have to say, it's time to get back into the whole idea of our Giving Tuesday event. And this is one of our senior producers from Giving Tuesday from last year, 2019. Carol Brown, good to see you. Traveling to pick up hubby. Well, you know what? I'm glad you're here. And one thing that's really wonderful about these shows is they translate into, in fact, that's why eventually here soon, the Service Hero Show is going to be loaded as a podcast. Yes, we are going to officially load our shows. I'm working on the format, how that's going to all look. But However, we are going to be going to that next level, that next stage, podcast. So, Mikey Adam Cohen, love you. Glad you're here with us. Let's see, who's me? A blast from the past. Blast from the past. I love it. Who are you? Blast from the past. Well, I know a lot of movies that work for that. So I'm going to bring this up to the line. I'm going to take me down. I'm going to show you guys a bit of a blast from the past, and then I'll be back. Hello, it's Tamara Hunter and Donna G.
Guinouard.
And it is day number 17 of 365 days of awesome, and we are celebrate success through service. And I am here in celebrating the fact that she has just launched a brand new show on Voice America, and it is the High Energy Hour. And here we go. So, hello. I had a feeling you'd come in just as I was sharing that beautiful piece of showmanship from way back in the day when this was all first starting. I mean, right? Your show was just starting. We were just announcing the fact that your show you had just started signing all of that, coming together with what your platform was. And now you've been on Voice America for how long? How long have you been doing this show?
Well, I was on Voice America for about 6 months, and decided to put that on hiatus for a while and have gone off. And I am now actually the host of the High Energy Entrepreneur radio show on the iNetpreneur Network.
Oh, excellent. Well, congratulations. And I know that this is a local networking group that is now expanding nationally, right? It started, it hubbed in your neck of the woods, and it's going national. But I want to step back now that you're here, because now we can actually do the official welcoming and everything, because you never got a proper service hero salute, if you will, honor, highlight, any of the above, because it was still so new back when all of this was starting, because we were all so new. I mean,
I was number 17.
Number 17. I know that I just was showing the beginning of it, and it was like, I remember like it was yesterday. Yeah, and looking
we were
at
in California.
And looking at it, I'm thinking, oh, that was a few days ago.
Just a couple. I actually hadn't even been back in the Valley that long.
Right, because you had moved back to the Phoenix, Mesa, Scottsdale kind of area, the Valley. Right.
Yes, I had been gone from the Valley, Arizona for 25 years and had moved back home to be with my folks before they died, and was waiting for my youngest to be out of high school. So it's been, 4 years, about the 16th of this month.
Wow. You know, it's amazing how this all works. But now let's do this appropriately, because today now I'm not numbering the shows as much as I am giving them a date, because of everything that's happening in the world right now. And so today is July the 23rd, 2020, and I nominated you to come back on because of all the wonderful work you're doing. It's so important right now for people to have inspiration. It's important for people to see leadership. It's important for people to see good-hearted individuals that are driven by passion and purpose, and really what is best for others in mind.
And love.
Right, exactly. And love. That word love. Big, huge. Big, yes. Huge. And that's what you personify. You personify that in every which way. And so your story is unique and it's interesting. All stories are. Yet I really, when I heard yours, when we sat and talked the very, very first time I met you, and then every time we've ever been together, it's just like, it's like seeing a sister. It's like seeing a best friend again. It's like home week, old home week. You know, it's like, yay, you know, I get to be with you again. And when I first met you, I thought, oh, this girl, she's just like so full of energy. I bet she's like I bet you anything she's a trainer. I bet you anything she's involved in gymnastics or gym or something like this. And when you told me about your story, I thought, oh, I love her that much more. I really did, because it was like, oh wow, I did not have that one pegged. I really didn't. So you have had your share of health issues, right?
Trials and tribulations, yes.
Yeah. So let's just we don't have to stay here long, but especially because we have so many of our buddies, and we have a lot of newer buddies in our organization now. And I really want them to be able to relate with you, because it's when others overcome and then are able to then teach like you are. I mean, vampires, oh my goodness. When I think about what you teach, it's pretty incredible. But you started because you had some health issues.
Oh, I had some serious health issues, and to be honest, I still do. The difference is I don't let them define who I am. I don't let them live me. I live them. So this goes back, briefly, this goes back, really it starts when I was 9. I had arthritis, and back then it was not called juvenile arthritis, but, it decided to stay with me the rest of my life. And I hear it every day. It talks to me. Mm-hmm. So, life goes on. I get married. I have kids. I get divorced. And I kept having these weird spells, and I wasn't sure what they were. So fast forward, I thought I was literally, Tamara, having a stroke. So I drove myself to urgent care, and I told them, I think I'm having a stroke. And man, they immediately got the ambulance and took me to ER, where they did a MRI, and the neurologist on site said, we need to do some more tests. But after many hours, we all know how emergency goes.
Yeah, right? It's a real emergency. Hang around.
Yeah, about 8 hours later. So they found that I had an aneurysm, and that's all I knew. And I thought, well, okay, my mom had a small aneurysm, but it wasn't a big deal. So she set me up with a neurosurgeon, and I continued to see her, where they ran a battery of tests on me for months. They put 24 karat gold electrodes, if you will, on my head to make sure I wasn't epileptic. They ran every kind of test you can. I had a spinal tap. I was a really good friend with the bloodletting department.
You become best friends with your doctors and all the techs and everything. It's like, so how's that kid doing?
Right. And and I say that because every time I went, it was like 14 vials at a time. That's a lot of blood, So anyway, I had gone in to see this, make an appointment, see this neurosurgeon. And he said, okay, well, really, we need to see what's going on in your head, Donna. And we need to see where this aneurysm is. I said, okay. So this was at OSU at the Wexner Center. And the day I went in, my 2 doctors were really close together. So I tried to do them back to back. So I went into my neurologist first, who was testing me for everything under the sun, and sat down. And my youngest daughter was with me at the time and said, okay, all the tests have come back and it's affirmative. You have MS. So not always the words you want to hear, right?
Yeah.
So my daughter's in tears. She literally, a teenager crawling in my lap, just sobbing. And, I'm shedding some tears trying to digest this. And I said, okay, well, let's just do this. So I go over to my neurosurgeon, and we were literally that day setting up the first of 3 brain surgeries. Mm-hmm. So my first brain surgery was November 27th of 2014. My main brain surgery was July 27th of 15. And the last brain surgery, I hope it's always the last, was January 13th of 2016. So the first and the third one, I was totally awake, which was, I know it sounds weird, but it was so cool.
That is, I would geek out on that, to be honest with you. I'd be like, okay, so what, because I'm sure you didn't feel it, right?
Oh, no, no, no. I
Yeah.
didn't feel it at all. They gave me a little Michael Jackson fentanyl cocktail. Honestly. But my biggest issue was that because, of course, I can't see without my glasses, I couldn't see the TV monitors on my left side. And I kept trying to turn my head. And of course, I'm tied down, to the operating table. But anyway, it was pretty cool. So they went in, and the second surgery I was completely out for. That lasted about an hour, 10 minutes, somewhere around there. I was in ICU for several days. Got home. Everything was fine. They went up through my femoral artery. So they never cut my head open. But I had 3 brain surgeries in 14 months. And what that did was it gave me so much trauma in my head that in talking, and Tamara, you know me, I like to talk. I couldn't remember everyday words.
Yeah.
And it was crippling to me. I would be in the middle of a conversation and I would be like, yeah, that. I'm sorry, what's that called? They're like, a pen. I'm like, a pen. And it was crippling. Like my daughter sat down with me and there were some things going on at school and I did not have the words to be able to help her. Yeah. I didn't. And so honestly, that is how I dived in to help myself. Right. And accidentally, that's how high energy performance coaching came about.
Every time I hear this story, I actually get something new from it every time. And I now have heard it a few times and it always inspires. It always inspires. And I'm thinking here that that some of the buddies right now needed to hear what you just shared. And I'm doing some blast from the past pictures right now. I mean, this is the first magazine that I was in. I think probably you
and
too.
I was in. Yes,
yeah, we were in it together. Right. And then there we are over there. The day that we did I think that was the same day that we did the number 17 show. Yep. And then when I was on your show, that was 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, on your platform there. Pretty amazing how that all works. And then not long ago, I went over there, and then you were the hostess of a panel that you invited me to be a part of, and that was pretty.
I was the lead panelist.
Yes.
With the iNetwork Expo. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So lots of really good stuff, and the buddies that are here. I'm so glad you shared that because we talk about this a lot in our closed group, and that is. And in fact, we talked about, I think it was last night or the night before, one of our newer buddies came in and asked this question about, chemo brain is what we call it. But it's the same kind of a thing where you have to learn coping skills. And so we were sharing, like, I actually do have whiteboards everywhere in where I film. Every single wall. There's 3 walls, right? And every single one is head to toe, basically, in whiteboards. And so that I can look where I need to look, and I don't have to recall certain things. Because it used to be, I used to have one of those kind of, I have a picture memory still, but I could recall just about anything at one point. But now it's that chemo brain. Many of us go through it, but we learn we learn other skills. It's like all of a sudden, light bulb goes off. We get that compensation. We get to learn something. And that's what ended up happening for you and what you're doing now and helping others. And I love it. That's why I was kind of saying the whole vampire thing, because
right.
Because I mean, every time it's like people are going to say, you think of Donna and you go with vampires? Is it her last name? No.
because in all truth and honesty, part of what I teach in my program, in my coaching program, is understanding where those energy vampires are. And by that, I mean a person, a place, or a thing. And in understanding that, it gives us the ability to take back control of our lives and not let that control us, and giving you permission to say, whoa, 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 it doesn't serve me.
Right.
And I need to show up at my very best because my family, myself, and the world needs me at my very best.
I absolutely, again, love that. And you think about how many people are being literally, and that's why I love the whole analogy of the vampire, because how many are being drained by so
absolutely.
many others? And when you're already in some kind of a health challenge where you can definitely rise above it, you absolutely, all of us can, no matter what it is. However, we have to be that much clearer in our own reality. We have to really be authentic. We need to show up and say, okay, what is working? What is draining? What is helping us to give us that energy, right?
What is giving us our energy, and what are we giving permission to give away? See, that's number one. We so get caught up that we give permission to give away our energy and get sucked into that vortex that is not a good space for us to be in.
Right.
And, especially in anything we do in life, but like with what you are doing, Chemo Buddies, you have to harness every amount of energy you have. You need to harness that because you need it to fight the fight every single day. You don't want to give that away. And you have to give yourself permission to get rid of them if they're not serving you.
And Helene is saying, one of our buddies is saying, I needed to see this show today. And that's why we do the show. That is why we do Service Heroes. And in fact, when it was all, Donna was there the day I was challenged by Tasha
right?
Tree. Yeah, and Dawn was there too. A lot of the old home week kind of, and Angel, and many people that I still have in my life now that are very much involved in it. We're there when this show was challenged, and it has evolved. However, it was all about the buddies. It was about creating content that would be able to be used for the buddies one way or another. And so then it was a matter of troubleshooting it. And to have a buddy today, over 2 years later, say, Donna, I needed you on this show today. I needed to be here to watch this. That's pretty amazing, isn't it?
That is amazing. And, it is, I've had precancer myself, so I've never had full cancer, knock on wood, but I know the scariness of being told, 19, if this isn't fixed, you're never going to have babies. So been there. I get that. Yeah. So I know how scary it is. And of course I've lost family members to cancer, and I know how difficult this fight is. Every fight we have in our lives is the fight of our life.
Yeah.
And it's that balance to get your energy back so that you can have that joy and that passion, and understand that cancer does not live you, that you live it.
Right. I call it cutting the suck tubes away with a spiritual sword. I have not heard you say that before, Skip. He's actually my board member over digital platforms, and I work very, very closely with him. And he's been a buddy since the beginning of this. I call it cutting the suck tubes away with a spiritual sword. I love that. That's good.
Yep, absolutely.
That's awesome. I'm spinning up on it on multiple different, layers of that onion, right?
Right. And the thing is, understanding, having been diagnosed with many diseases, I'm not saying that I don't have my days. I'm not saying that at all, because I do. And every day they let me know they're there. Some days I have to take, and again, that's part of that energy and being true to yourself. Some days I have to have a rest day, period. because my body says that's enough, Donna, you can't do anymore. And so it's important to understand those boundaries and give yourself those boundaries and those guidelines so that you are resting, because it is a tough battle every single day. And I don't want anyone out there to think that what you're going through is the definition of who you are, because it's not. It's just part of life. And once we do that and can get your energy around it, honestly, you have so much more endorphins and all those little yummy things in our body that are fighting against the disease you have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Sherry McQueen is fighting it. She's got the sword thing going on, Sherry. I think is what that is.
I love Sherry.
I love her too. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. These we've got some of the best people here right now. To our Chemo Buddies for Life community group is to bring joy and happiness and love. And you know, I actually was finishing up my article that I do for Global Magazine, Global Achievers Magazine, and I was finishing it up today, and I actually was bragging about this leadership team right now, because you know, in building any kind of a movement, you've got to start having your layers of leadership, right? And you have to they need to be growing and leading, and then they start growing and leading, and you've got a lot of the leadership team here right now that's here visiting with us, and I was actually bragging about them, because you know, when you really get in there in the trenches, and you're doing that in your marketplace, you're doing that with the Network Together group, the I Network, and the I Network Radio, and everything that you're helping to build, and the people that you are helping to support and highlight and honor yourself, and all of that fun, where you get invested in them. And then when you are a coach like you are, and you're helping your people to realize that they have that energy, they have that ability, that they can, you know, that they can start like taking the baby steps, and then they can start walking a little faster and be that toddler, and then all of a sudden they're going to be a teenager, and then they're going to not need you anymore. You know, it's crazy. And then they'll show up when they're a little older, and it's like, okay, Mom, can you babysit? Yeah, that's the best. But you're right. And let's see what Helene is saying. How to get to come to the show for you to learn more about yourself. Thank you for this show. I appreciate being here. Thank you for sharing that, Helene. That's wonderful. Aww. And Tamara, it was well written. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing it with us, Tamara Love. Hashtag Tamara Love. Thank you. I whenever I have someone that I've written about, I want to get their reviews, make sure that they're good with it and everything. So I sent it out right before the show to get that, thumbs up or thumbs down, and because that's part of that collaboration, right? And and you are huge on that. In fact, I want to bring a couple pictures up, because you get involved with so much. Well, first of all, here you are doing the iNetwork Radio and
iNetpreneur, yes.
Yeah, and I had to pick these because, of course, also we got some of the Speaker Pathway buddies there, and one of which we're going to highlight again about something else in a few moments, about another radio show in a moment or two. But we got Preston Martelli and
Jim Grant and Kimberly Miner.
Yes, and others here from your networking group there, Justin James, Kara Jensen, and let's see, Steve. I can't really see his last name. I don't want to say it wrong either. And so you right now, you guys launched the streaming radio show. How is that going?
It is actually going absolutely fantastic. So this is an idea that Robert Jones, who is the owner and chairman of the iNetpreneur Network, he and I had talked about this about a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. So right in between, yep, there's Robert and Isabel, right in between, close to when I was close to being done with my original show. And so we started talking about this and thinking, all right, we need to put this together. And then we decided we were going to launch, and then COVID hit. And we went, okay, this is awesome. So we decided, what the heck, we're gonna launch this anyway. And it turned out absolutely fabulous, because I believe that we need that now more than ever.
Yeah.
With everything that is going on, there's so much disruption and so much negativity in our world that like you, we bring people on to highlight them and to lift them up. And I tell people about what they do, and we're able to get out what they do and who they are. And that is so needed and such a beautiful, beautiful thing.
And it is, because it goes along with what the whole concept of Network Together is, of which, total disclosure, guys, I am a member. I did join. I believed in it so very much. I joined, and this is a group that started, and I actually met Robert long ago, and then met Sean, his wife, a little later. And just kind of like adopted them right off the bat. And Robert, I think he's like, I'm always telling him, he's one of the top dads I know, because of just his attitude, and the two of them together. He bought
dynamite.
He bought her a chainsaw. I thought that was the coolest thing. He was talking about, she wanted a chainsaw, he got her a chainsaw. It was like, okay, and because they are the cutest, amazing, dynamic duo between the two of them, and fun, and they make things fun. Well, they're really big about the networking together, and they've had these flash mobs, they've had these flash get-togethers, they've had these events that they've been building, something that's huge. And then here you go, you got COVID, and I really wondered what was going to happen. I am so impressed in the way that you guys have been doing this, because you found a way to network together virtually.
Right. Scottsdale, that's my chapter. I facilitate that chapter. So come on out and join us, guys. Every Friday. So yeah, we did. We were actually planning on doing virtual online, and then COVID hit. And Sean and Robert literally had to pivot everything within 72 hours.
Yeah.
So everything went virtual within 72 hours. We do right now have 2 chapters that are in-person meeting, but due to the resurgence of COVID, most of the chapters are still virtual. And of course, really, we don't really know how long it's going to be virtual. We just don't.
Right. And speaking of, one of the co-founders herself, Sean, so good to have you with us today. I'm so glad you're here. And Sony Jackson's here, Dr. Sony Jackson. So glad you're here with us. So many.
I love them.
Yes, and so many more. We've got family, I've got friends, I've got buddies. We've got so many that are showing up for this show. So you had something really big happen for you just in the last little bit, didn't you? You were like a guest, someone, and something, and like not quite a muckety muck, but like totally like dreams do come true. And I mean, if you could say, wow, pinch yourself, or whatever it all is. Right?
I did. I was really excited. So Jim Grant, who is, of course, one of the co-founders of Speaker Pathway Coalition, and has his own, Your Future Is Now radio show. And he called me up and he said, guess who I'm interviewing? I said, who? And he said, Marty Haggard, Merle's oldest son. I said, oh my gosh, Jim, I love, love, love Merle Haggard. And he thought about it and he said, would you like to be my co-host? I'm like, guest host? I'm like, yeah. So it was awesome. So I got to literally meet Marty virtually. And it was an amazing, amazing thing. He is absolutely a stellar man. And, you know, I'm so honored that Jim invited me to share that with him. But it was really fun. We had a great time. Marty is as down to earth as they come. Jim, it was funny, talked about, well, you know, really a singer-songwriter, Marty, is just a solopreneur. And and so Jim wasn't on video, right? So it was just Marty and I on video. And he says, I never really thought about it like that because I ain't much of a business person. And started laughing. I'm like, well, okay, but you really are. So, you know, I know, right? So we went on to, you know, just talk about his dad and how, you know, Merle Haggard is known to have 40 #1 hits. But actually, when we talked to Marty about that, it's actually more like 50, because back in the day, it was an A and B side, right?
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So
and they only counted one side, right?
Right. So back in the day, they would release the A side, and the B side was sort of like your filler.
Right.
Well, on the Wings of a Dove, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, hello. That was the B-side song.
Wow.
That was the B-side song that never, ever really went to #1. But Marty even said when he performs live, it's his most #1 requested song of his dad's.
Wow.
And so Marty is a spitting image of his daddy. I mean, the spitting image. And it was hysterical because I guess, if you will, it's kind of funny, a little har. My claim to fame is that Marty Haggard made me cry.
He made you cry
on the show because he was talking about his dad and how Merle never really got the whole I'm a star thing. You know, he was there for the music. He was there to write his songs. He was the best songwriter ever, knew everybody. And he was talking about their whole story, how, you know, Merle got in trouble and went to prison 3 months before Marty was born. And Marty was born in a boxcar and his dad got out of prison when he was 3 years old. So he went from being an ex-con to the White House in 12 years. Mm-hmm. And he had, up and of course, until he passed away, he met every president in that time frame. And he was talking about how his dad just loved what he did and touching people's lives with his songs and his writing. And I'm kind of going like this, you know, thinking of some things, you know, and he leans into the camera like this and he says, Donna, are you crying? I'm like, yeah.
I'm proud of it.
Right? I'm like, man, I just met you and you're making me cry in a good way.
Oh, you know, he touched your heart.
Oh, he did.
The story. And you know, it's like what Speaker Pathway Coalition always talks about, and you know, the stories will touch your heart, you know, and they're the things that you will remember. You can get up and tell facts and figures, but it's the stories. You need to have those stories, and they're going to touch your heart, you know, and it helps if the story does tell a story too, you know, and has a purpose.
Oh, yeah.
However, in a situation like this, in a situation like this, it sounds like the purpose or the story and everything was that moment in time. I wish I had even the screenshot, him looking in there and asking you, are you crying?
It was hysterical, but I mean, it was in such, I mean, the passion that Merle had is the same passion that Marty has. Mm. And it was so touching to see somebody who it sounds just like his dad too. He's smooth as silk voice, but who could be, I guess, just for the right words, who could be conceited if he wanted to be, right?
Right. Yeah, he could have that bloated head. He could be that.
He could have that ego.
I'm here. I'm
Yeah.
doing this, and yet, it's kind of
Oh
whatever,
my gosh.
but
Is the
from,
most down to earth man you've ever met. And it was just so humbling to listen and be able to ask questions. Like one of the questions I asked him, Tamara, I said, okay, I got to ask this, Marty, because I'm sure the folks out there want to know what it was like going on tour with your dad. So he started going on tour with his dad at 8 years old.
oh, cool.
And he said, right. So, he's good friends with Charlie Pride and Charlie's kids. He's Waylon Jennings, Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson, all their kids, you name it, Don Williams, you name it, all of them. He knows them all.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of thought, well, this is what everybody does, this is what my dad does for work. My dad picks up a guitar and goes out on stage and sings. But he could never understand, he said, why people were so crazy about Merle as a young child. And it wasn't until he got older that he understood that it was what his songs that he wrote and how he sang them that really touched people's lives, mother, brother, son, sister, father, child, grandfather, grandmother, all of it, right?
Right.
And how it takes them back, like even today, his tribute, when he does his concerts, his tribute to Merle Haggard, my dad. And he says, how I see people's lives were touched by my father.
Yeah.
And that's it,
Yeah.
That's just what his dad did. And he said, it was just, every day.
Yeah.
Just normal. Because, and like he said, if my dad had been a ditch digger, I'm pretty sure I'd have been as proud of him as Punch, because he'd have been the best ditch digger there was.
Exactly. Instead of a guitar, he would have been picking up a shovel.
Right. Right.
It would have been just, kind of like guitar, shovel, what? Dad, right? And,
yes.
And so for anybody that wants to catch this show that they didn't catch it in the first time around, it is a radio show podcast that can be found on TogaNet, right? TogaNet, and Your Future Is Now with Jim Grant and the co-host Donna Guinouard. That
on that one, yes,
have a opportunity of a lifetime. And then, okay, so I did see another. Okay, let me pull these down. I did see a little bit more to this story, though. Let me just grab it here real quick, because it was like, oh, this is just too exciting. In fact, I heard a little bit about after it that, okay, so let's.
Yep. There they are.
There is Jim. And that seems to say, if I got my glasses going right, it actually says Donna right there, right?
Yep. And it says, thank you, Marty Haggard. Wow. So Jim went to his concert on last Sunday, in Tomball, Texas. Forgive me if I said it wrong.
Somewhere in Texas, guys. Okay.
Right. He went there, and Marty was signing that for me. And that's what the picture is down there with Marty on his hat. He's signing my my autograph photograph of him. And so I'm just so excited. Jim has graciously got that and sent it in the mail. And so I hope to be getting it sometime soon. But I was so tickled pink, I couldn't see straight.
So, I just want to say personally also to Jim and everyone there, thank you for giving Donna this opportunity, because this is the stuff that life is all about. And in this period of time right now, we need to be inspiring each other. And we can do something that is going to make such a big difference and bring a priceless opportunity. And when he figured out how much this would mean to you, and you give so much to so many others and highlight them, what an opportunity for you to be able to have that moment in time.
Well, yes, but Jim Grant, I mean, that's what his show is all about.
Yeah.
Is Your Future Is Now is about lifting people up and finding who is doing what in this world. And honestly, I can't say enough about Jim Grant. And I know you can't either, Tamara.
No, he calls me. You know what he calls me? My name is
told me and I forgot.
Tamara Sue.
That's right. Tamara Sue. You tell her I said Tamara Sue. That's right. So, you know, honestly, he is the salt of the earth. He is just the nicest man, you know, that I've ever met.
Yeah, he's one of a kind. He's definitely, in fact, yeah, he really is. And
we're cousins, by the way.
Really?
Jim and I. No, but let me tell you how. No, yeah, because he called me up one day on the phone in my car and said, "Hey, cuz," and I didn't recognize the number. And I'm like, my mom was an only child. My dad had one sister. I have 3 first cousins, and one of them is passed. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, hello, who is this? He's like, well, it's your long lost cousin.
It sounds
and
like him.
I'm like, oh, I'm like, okay. So I said, you want to explain this? And he started laughing and he says, ha, ha, ha. This is Jim Grant. I just had to pull your leg. So since then, we've adopted each other. We are now cousins officially.
I love it. I love it. And Helene is from Texas, and she did say that you said it right. So you got it right. So.
Oh, yay. I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
I think they're pretty tough skinned when it comes to that kind of stuff. I think though in Texas, but there we are. Love it, love it. So, you know, I want to go now. We're coming to the top of the hour. You are also, just to kind of let everybody know that you are. Jim is one of the co-founders of Speakers Pathway Coalition. Oh, that needed a white background, but you guys, it's there. And here's some of the speaking, you know, the training, executive training directors, and and that is something that you have embraced and you are a part of, and going forward. And we've got some exciting things that are coming up here, wouldn't you say?
Oh, they're huge. They're huge. I can't express enough gratitude to Don McGrath and Jim Grant for founding Speakers Pathway Coalition, because they got really tired of the message going out to these big, huge speaking opportunity to learn how to speak from stage, but only maybe 1% was getting anywhere. And they thought, you know, there's got to be a better way. And they formed this about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it has been crazy explosive in growth since then. And what they teach is invaluable. And being, you know, you're on the executive training team, I'm preaching to the choir with you, but everybody else who doesn't know, jump in with both feet.
It's good for people to hear, because we have some new things that are going to be really coming out and rolling out here soon. And I'm glad that we're able to share this in advance of some of I can't even say how excited I am. In fact, I'm becoming because we have to learn all of this so that then we can take it out there. And as I'm learning some of this, you know, trademarked information, it's stuff that has been developed and incubated and formulated and founded within you know, with the 2 founders and such, and kind of like the whole program. And it's exciting. It just is exciting. And I'm very energized by it myself. Yeah. So it's good to have this. It's good to hear the third-party validation coming out and talking about it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And if anybody is interested in knowing more, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to talk with you about it and put you in the right direction if you don't go, of course, through Tamara, but I'd be happy to.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for offering that. And, you know, I have to just say, too, when I saw this one, I just had to bring it up and say, you know, don't you just love him? You can't help but just love this one.
He is fabulous.
He's probably, he's one of the stellar ones, too. And so, you know, it's just such it's so great when you can have someone on and honor them that honors others, and that is really what you're all about. Now, what is it that is on tap for you over the next, I mean, what do you say this next year looks like for Donna?
Oh, holy cow. Well, bigger and more.
Bigger and
Bigger.
more. Woo!
Yes, absolutely. So, of course, continue to grow high energy performance coaching, because, you know, it is my mission to touch as many people's lives as I possibly can and help get their energy kind of unstuck, if you will, and give them more joy and balance and prosperity in every way in their life, both personally and professionally, because they all go hand in hand. And that to me is huge. And having lived that and gone through that experience, you know, I know what it's like to be stuck. I really do. And so that's one of my biggest, of course, biggest joys is to be able to bless people and give them a new outlook on life. I love that. And then, of course, the iNetpreneur network is growing. The High Energy Entrepreneur radio show is every Thursday from 2:30 to 3:30, and it's growing and getting bigger. So I'm not sure everything that's going to happen, and that's part of what I love about my adventure in life is finding those pop-up new things that come along.
I love it. I love it. In fact, when the show is over, what I would love for you to do is in the comments, put all of those, show dates and times, or Thursdays, or any of the days, the times, and then also your YouTube channels and any of that kind of, and so they can follow you, because I'm sure
Absolutely.
You're going to have a lot of people that are going to say, I love her, I want to know more. And so that they can find you and follow you. And then also for everybody that is watching, I will be loading this into the Service Hero show channel over on YouTube also, which it's a little easier to find the shows. In fact, that's how I found the one from us, because I finally started loading them only just in the last few months, because I realized, I should do that. And so
there was a ton of them too.
I know, I have over 400 shows. And they're not even
busy for a minute.
I have to thank you, Swampy, for volunteering. I have to do some auditing, and so and in fact, Sherry is saying yes, please. She wants to have contact information. She wants to follow. She's loving you, and I knew so many would. And thank you for #live, #replay. Thank you all. So, any virtual stages set up lately for you coming up?
Well, I have one that will be coming up. I'm not exactly sure the date. Okay. It is a new contact, but it's really a fabulous organization. And when I know a little bit more about that, I will be posting it. But there is a virtual stage coming up. Looks like I'll probably be working with David Fagan in one of his upcoming events. Yes. So awesome. I'm kind of excited about that. I'm not sure if I'm doing the one here in the USA or the one in, I think he said China.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got a big following over in the Orient. So they do that one at night. So I'm kind of not sure which I'll be doing on that, but
fun like though, international. Yeah. I did my first one a couple years ago. Actually, that was international. It was really fun. It was a really fun experience. Very different and very fun. I'm going to give you a moment in time. I'm going to drop myself down from the line. I'm going to let you have the stage front and center for a moment, and to give a thought, an inspirational nugget, something that you're feeling inspired. Just a little thought, and then I'll come back, and then we will close out the show.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I teach my clients when things get difficult is to breathe. when we get upset, when things aren't quite right, and we have a little anxiety, and we all do from now and then, I teach them how to breathe. And one of the things is you breathe in a deep breath, okay? And you let just a third of it out. Hold it. Let out another third. Then release it all. And you keep repeating that until your body relaxes, and you'll find that your shoulders drop down and the stress in your neck starts to go away. And you find that there is a calmness that starts at your head and goes all the way through your body. Because what happens is we get so stuck in our head that we forget to come out of here. And when we get stuck in here, it kind of messes up where we're at. So breathing is huge. And I just want to give you that. If you're needing it, practice. If you're not 100% sure how to do it, I will have my information out there. Please reach out. It is my gift to help everybody who wants to learn that breathing technique as part of my program on high energy performance coaching.
Oh, that's wonderful. I was doing that. It felt good. That felt
It does,
great.
doesn't it?
I'm like, okay. Ooh.
It kind of tingles you. It kind of tingles you.
Yeah, it felt great. Well, as we are closing, the time just always goes too fast whenever I'm with you, my dear. It absolutely does. And this is another one of those days. However, what's nice is I know where to find you. I know where you are. I know that continue doing some fun stuff together. And so as we close this particular time together on July the 23rd, 2020, the Service Hero Show, 365 Days of Awesome. Celebrate success through service. Donna, Guinouard, we have totally made the case you are a service hero. You do so much for so many. You have shown up. You have inspired. You continue to inspire. You inspire even when you need to say, okay, today I am taking care of myself. I have to say personally, thank you for doing that, because we all need to see someone taking that stand. Also, you get out there and you help others to feel so good about what it is that they're doing, how they're contributing, how they are networking together, and you are leading the charge on the radio station and the platform that is highlighting so many of the entrepreneurs that are involved in an incredible program. I just want to say thank you for everything you do. You are truly a service hero.
Well, thank you. It is my absolute honor to be here with you today. So thank you, Tamara.
Thank you. Thank you. And today is Thursday, so you know what that means. It means it is Thankful Thursday in our Chemo Buddies for Life closed community. Yes, two of those that were here today watching, both Carol and Sherry, are our hosts of the chat. It is a chat. We get together every single day at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock Eastern, and we share humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a lot of love. Plus, we have a topic of the day. Yet, if anybody needs us, they come, they let us know. Oh, we drop everything else and we take care of them. So that is called the community. If you need to join us, you are feeling inspired, come on Facebook to Chemo Buddies for Life, go to groups, go to the community, ask to join. 2 requirements. What takes place there stays there, kind of like Vegas, wink, wink. And that it is a safe place. We monitor it. We protect our buddies. So come join us. Have some fun. All right. Thank you. We'll see you again soon, okay?
Yes. Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.